This is Raj Girn, the founder of ANOKHI, and Hina Ansari, the editor-in-chief of ANOKHI magazine, our blog, and also the co-host of ANOKHI Uncensored, the radio show. The radio show, you guys know, it has been a monthly show. It's been a show that we're very proud of. That's on ruckusavenueradio.com, as well as the free Dash Radio app on the Ruckus Avenue station and on Spotify. We've been having it go on for about a year now. We've gotten great feedback, and Hina will give us a bit more update on that. We are going to be going weekly with ANOKHI Uncensored with Ruckus Avenue on the Dash Radio platform. So we are super psyched about that, right, Hina?
Yes, yeah, totally.
Absolutely. Awesome. And our time is going to be every Monday on the West Coast of North America. It's going to be at 8 p.m. On the East Coast of North America, it's going to be at 11 p.m. and it's going to be 8:30 a.m. in India. And whatever the time zone is in your area, please check it out. Every Monday, starting next Monday, August the 10th, we will be going weekly. Super big shout out to Ruckus Avenue Radio, to Sammy and to Raul for making this happen for ANOKHI. We just have been inundated by all of you guys, which we really thank you guys for, wanting to hear more relevant, insightful, timely conversations. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is that we're going to be every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or whatever that time zone is, wherever else you are in the world. Every second and fourth Monday, either me or Hina or maybe somebody else will be coming on and doing a 1 hour talking about something relevant that you guys have, mentioned to us that you want us to talk about. So Hina, you and Ruchika have been doing our radio show for about a year now. Let's talk a little bit about what that experience has been about, and let's just go straight into the theme for today.
And it's been a wonderful experience. We are so excited that we have noted designer Mani Jassal, who is our special guest. And she is also a bride, so she will be bringing two very unique perspectives to the table as a vendor, as well as someone who's getting married. And we talk about it's a really interesting conversation. So I really hope everyone has a chance to tune in.
Absolutely. So again, folks, that is going to be our wedding episode. What's going on in and around COVID on a industry wedding vendor business side, as well as on the side of, brides and grooms. And it's really interesting that, Mani Jassal, the fashion designer, is uniquely positioned as being on both sides of that. So it's interesting what conversation will transpire and what insights will happen. Of course, Hina, you've had that conversation already. So, I guess there's not a lot you want to tell us, but is there maybe a tiny little snippet that you can reveal right now to kind of, excite people to want to be a part of this next Monday?
I will tell you, as someone who has attended many weddings and who's had a couple of family weddings postponed because of COVID, she has come to the table with some very interesting tips. There's some really eye-opening insights, some stuff that I haven't really thought about, but it makes total sense. So please tune in.
Let's go right into the topic for today.
Yes.
So we basically come up with our topics based on a lot of the feedback we get from you guys via email, via direct messaging, and just concerns that you guys have. We really do listen to your comments. We read them. So wherever you are messaging us, know that we have a dedicated team that takes a look at what it is that you guys are sending us. So keep sending them. DM us on all social platforms, email us at editorial@anokhilife.com. We really want to hear what it is that is important to you and the types of topics that you feel that we should be discussing, and really kind of, dissecting and understanding what's happening out there in the big wide world, as well as what's happening in our community. So this week we are going to be talking about bullying. Hina, I'm going to throw it right at you because you are my queen of stats and facts and everything that people need to know. Talk to us first about what actually is bullying. it's such a overused word that it's almost kind of, lost in translation sometimes. Let's just start right there. What is, the true definition of what bullying is?
So bullying has a very straightforward definition. It really is to seek to harm, intimidate, or coerce someone who's perceived as vulnerable.
So isn't that literally like every type of ism out there?
Yeah, I know, it is. It really is. And that's where it kind of can get confusing, because the key word really is, if someone is perceived as vulnerable, they are the victim. They are who is targeted. And the bullier will look for someone who they feel is vulnerable. And that's kind of why they kind of latch onto them.
Right, I understand that. So let's talk a little bit about that, Hina, because that's quite kind of interesting what you just said, because that one statement that you just said can really translate over into all kinds of, life's experiences, be that personal, be it professional. I mean, you can even go as far as looking at kind of world issues like, racism, gender inequity. You can look at casteism, classism, ethnicity biases. All of these have an underdog and have somebody that inflicts their perspective and their opinion upon. And therein lies kind of this whole relationship that gets formed where you're either on one side or the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly.
let's talk a little bit about your thoughts on that. I mean, we as the South Asian community are being hit from every single possible angle. We as South Asian women are times 10 on the amplification radar with that. Give me your thoughts on that a little bit.
You know what, it's interesting, because when I was starting to kind of do some research just to kind of wrap my head around the topic and kind of come together with some numbers, one thing which I automatically was thinking about is, culturally speaking, as South Asian women, how we are subject to bullying and we may not even know it. And especially when it comes to bullying from, if you're married, the bullying could be coming from the mother-in-law, or if you're of a marriageable age, as per cultural standards, the bullying could be coming from your own mom, who might want you to get married and it's kind of pushing you to get married, or from the aunties that are out there that are kind of, creating that, the chattering aunties that I like to call them. So that is something which it never really occurred to me until I started doing this research. It's like, you know what? Yes, that is a form of bullying.
Right.
And then, of course, taking a look at the wider spectrum of bullying, which obviously the first thing that people think of, notably, is kids and students and in class and online and that sort of thing. And I kind of found some stats here. Now, these are American-based, but it's quite reflective of what's happening in Canada and the UK as well. These numbers are very similar across the board in that sense. And it says here that in educationcorner.com had some stats. 90% of students in grades 4 to 8 report to have been harassed or bullied. Like, that's really young. Like, that just, my heart just broke there.
Yeah.
And again, it goes on, 28% of students in grades 6 to 12, 20% from grades 9 to 12, they all experience bullying. Now, there's two types of bullying, which I found fascinating.
Okay, talk about that.
There's one type where where the bullying is happening to a guy or a boy, and a bullying that's happening to a woman or a girl.
So how are they different, Hina? Because bullying, to me, bullying is bullying.
Bullying is bullying, but I think it's the type of bullying that's happening. So when it comes to bullying of a guy, it's more of the online physical attacks on the masculinity of the boy, on, kind of, that's, the perceived notion of weakness, that sort of thing, but it's tied to the masculinity of the boy, or the perceived masculinity of the boy. When it comes to girls being bullied, they are often subjects of rumors and emotional kind of emotional exploitation, if you will.
Right.
Because as women and as girls, we are more prone to being affected by what people say about us in terms of rumors. You know what I mean? Guys don't talk. They sort of attack. They attack. Exactly. Exactly. And there is this one which really kind of opened my eyes. So Ipsos International did a study. They surveyed adults, asking them about their kids.
Okay.
In 28 countries. And Indian parents were among the highest to express confidence that their kids getting bullied.
Wow.
From 2011 to 2018.
So this is the parents. This is the parents being confident.
Parents. This is the parents, exactly.
So that's really interesting, Hina, because, you know, I mean, historically speaking, we feel that South Asian kids don't really speak to their parents, you know, typically when they are in a, you know, place of vulnerability, whatever that may be for any individual. But, you know, this is kind of throwing that on its head, that clearly there is dialogue happening, or there is insights where the parents are paying attention to what's happening with their kids, that this is being picked up on. This is really interesting. Actually makes me feel good to know that.
Exactly. And keep in mind, these are grade school children. So the parents would be our age.
Right. So it's you and me.
Exactly.
I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. So because we are a different type of parent to the parent that was prior to us.
Exactly.
And there's no kind of, you know, judgment with that statement. That just is factual. And it has to do, you know, a lot with, I mean, it has to do with a lot of things, but, and that's not what this show's about, but just for, you know, warrant of putting the comment out there, it has to do with how and where you're brought up and what your external environment looked like and how impactful that was, in addition to the internal environment. So our parents didn't have that. They had, it was all kind of India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. You know, they had the inside and outside world was typically kind of very aligned. Our world, Hina, you and I grew up with a very monochromatic environment where the outside world was very, very different on many, many levels, on most levels, to the environment within our home. So that then created a huge amount of confused identity. You know that. The movies came out in the early 90s, ABCD, American Chai, where we kind of talked about who are we as South Asians, you know, are we displaced from our culture? Do we fit in with, you know, the culture and the environment and society around us? And I feel all this soul searching, all this conversation, the narrative that changed, you know, who we are as a diasporic, you know, society of South Asians is a lot more insightful when it comes to paying attention to what's happening with our children. So much so, I know from my perspective, Hina, as a mother, I was really, really kind of laser sharp focused on what is going on with my kid. Am I missing anything? Because, you know, my parents who didn't have, you know, those insights missed a lot, you know, of kind of signs that I didn't want to miss with my kid. So maybe that's where the stats come in. And it's interesting, it's coming in from India. Shreya Gupta is going to be our featured guest for this inaugural edition of ANOKHI Uncensored Live. She's going to be popping on momentarily. And she's actually a 10-year-old young Toronto native who had this idea that she wanted to write a book in and around this kind of whole theme of bullying. The book is called Flamingo Feet. It is published by Tell Well Talent, and the book is available on Amazon Canada, Amazon USA, and Barnes & Nobles also. I will be bringing her on to kind of understand why she felt at this particular moment in time that she felt that this book was really important, and why a 10-year-old who should be out there playing and doing all that fun stuff, you know, sat down and felt that she needed to do this. So
she's busy changing the world.
She's busy changing the world as the whole generation is after you and I, Hina. You know, like millennials, you know, have kind of taken charge on, you know, unapologetically, apologetically, whichever way you want to look at it, by saying this is who we are. And then Gen Z has taken it that step further, where they are absolutely, you know, telling people what it is that they believe in, how things need to be, why they need to be. And it's interesting. And before I let you go, Hina, and bring Shreya in, I remember when we were growing up, we were very, very conditioned, be it caste, class, gender, ethnicity, in how it's gonna be. And we didn't really question it because we didn't know that we could. Fast forward to 2020, all of the millennials onwards are questioning absolutely every single thing that has been institutionalized, whether it be good institutions or not so good institutions. The entire systemic nature of racism, gender biases, ethnic, all the stuff that we've faced, you and I, Hina, we've faced all of the above, right? Caste, class, gender, ethnicity, guilt of are we doing, what our parents need? This sense of freedom, but why do we have to do it their way? Why can't we do it a whole other way? Can there be another discussion here? Yeah. Can there be another identity? And I feel that our generation, the Gen X's, the first generation to kind of really be exposed to Indian culture, South Asian culture, and Western culture, really did have the largest struggle to figure out who it is that we felt that we needed to be. Oh my and gosh, just look, just in a couple of generations, Hina, look at the massive trajectory change that we have now seen happen with literally every single institution, every single industry out there has a prominent South Asian figure involved. I mean, kudos to, what our generation started to kind of where we're at right now with my son's generation is flipping awesome. And with that said, thank you so much, Hina. I know that you're going to be premiering your ANOKHI Uncensored live on Monday, 7 p.m. on the 28th of August. So stay tuned, folks, for that. Is there anything you want to share about that, or are we gonna let it be for now? Let it be. I'm still planning. Planning. Okay, Hina's still planning. So we will let you guys know as the weeks progress. Thank you so much, Hina. Thank folks, you. Just stick around. First thing I want to ask you, sweetheart, I mean, most 10-year-olds are busy playing with their friends, figuring out what they're going to do in terms of schoolwork during COVID. But here you are busy authoring your own book. Tell me why you decided that you wanted to write this book.
Yeah, so about a year and a half ago, I went to India and I saw how unfortunate some of the kids were. Some of the kids were even coming up to me and my family, trying to sell pens to us for money this way they could buy food. Yeah. And I found that really sad. And my grandfather runs a charity for young girls in India who don't have access to education.
And what's that charity called, sweetheart?
It's called Positive and Progressive Educational Support Canada.
Okay, awesome.
Mm-hmm. And so basically the charity provides the young girls in India with education, food, books, everything they really need. So the money I earned towards my book, Flamingo Feet, I'm giving it to that charity.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. I mean, when I was 10-year-old, all I could think about is, how come I don't have a Barbie and I wanted to buy a Barbie doll? And here you are, you're changing the world. Kudos to you, sweetheart. I'm so proud of you. For those of you who are just joining us, I am in conversation with Toronto-based 10-year-old author of Flamingo Feet, Shreya Gupta. She is an incredible young lady who, when she was in India, she felt that all of the poverty that she was seeing, especially in and around, children and girls, especially, she felt that she wanted to do her bit. So writing this book really came from that. And what a testament to, seeing something happening and making a decision to want to do something about it. Honestly, I'm just, I want to be like you when I grow up. That's all I have to say. So let's talk a little bit about what the key message is about the book. Tell me about that, Shreya.
Well, the key message for my book is to always have confidence and always chase your dreams and follow your heart no matter what anybody else says. Because, so basically Arya, the main character in my book, her dream is to jazz dance, so she enters a jazz competition. But when some bullies call her Flamingo Feet, she drops out of the competition, but eventually she gains the confidence and overcomes what the bully says. So I think that's really the key message, to always gain confidence no matter what anybody else says.
Absolutely. And for those people, Shreya, who, you know, aren't confident for whatever the reason may be, any advice for them? Because you're definitely a confident young lady, that you made a decision that I want to write this book because I want to help other girls who maybe don't have all of the fortunes that I have. Like, is there maybe one thing that you can share that you do that makes you feel confident?
Well, I've been bullied before too. I'm sure everybody has. But what I really do is I think about, that it doesn't matter what those bullies are saying. It doesn't matter what they think about me. It doesn't matter. Just follow your heart, chase your dreams, no matter what.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. They're just wise words. I'm so excited about this book, Shreya. I wanted you on this very first ANOKHI Uncensored Live, just because, I know the book is, just newly released. Tell us a little bit about, where people can go to pick this book up, in North America, and if it's available outside of North America as well.
Well, you can buy the book everywhere, just online. So right now you can buy it on Barnes and Noble, soon to be on Indigo, and you can buy it on Amazon too.
Awesome. So for all of you guys out there who are wondering what to do with your kids, go to Amazon, go pick up this book. This book not only is going to be great from an entertainment perspective and also to keep your kids busy, but it's also got a really key, fundamental, important message. And we all know, with kind of the age of social media, that all our children are going to be faced with all forms of very creative and innovative way of being bullied. So I feel that this book is going to be something that really needs to be shared with every single child that's out there. Go to Amazon, go to Barnes and Nobles. Please go and pick up this book while I continue having this conversation with Shreya. Shreya, let me ask you also this. What do you want to accomplish, for those who didn't get this answer at the top of our conversation? What do you want to accomplish with getting this book into people's hands?
Well, I hope to inspire as much people as I can, and I want to raise as much money as I can.
Well, I mean, there you go in one sentence, folks. That's just a really, really, awesome thing to want to do. But it's going to be even more awesome if you guys actually go online and go pick up this book. I know I'm going to absolutely make sure that I get a copy of this, because when I was growing up, and I know a lot of women and men of my generation can say this, books like this, especially, created by people from our community, they just didn't exist. So to have people like Shreya have kind of this insight that not only does she want to get a book out there, which is actually authored by a South Asian person, but it also has a very key fundamental message to help people in today's society. And I think that's kind of the real big important thing here. Shreya, I want to ask you something. I'm really curious, is this book going to kind of be like your standalone one book that you're going to do, or are you thinking about doing a whole series of books?
Right now it's a standalone book.
Okay, perfect. So I guess we need to coerce you into writing another one then, don't we? Because I know that, as soon as people get their hands on this book, I know they're going to be very interested in knowing if there's going to be another one. So maybe what you want to do, sweetheart, is think about what other problems or challenges have you seen children go through, especially South Asians, because, we have, a lot of unique challenges, being that, we're from a very strong culture. And then if you're a girl that's in our culture, there's also a lot of other things that, we're challenged with. So I would love for you to go back and maybe think about other ideas that you could put into a book as well, because I honestly feel that what you're doing here is really, really needed. It really, really is. So let me just ask you a little bit about the journey of writing this book, because anyone who's ever written a book, getting it published, getting artwork, getting the concept right, even as an adult, it's no easy feat. But here you are as a 10-year-old who I'm so proud of, and I'm so excited that you had kind of this idea to want to do this book. Tell me a little bit about the journey of having, from the idea that you had when you went to India and your family's charity, to actually getting this book into Amazon. What did that journey look like? What were the steps?
Well, we got the illustrations first, and then once everything was done, basically we got the links for the book and it went on Amazon. Distribution took a bit of a long time, but it's going well. But there was a few challenges, but my parents were always there to support me. They really supported me. But what really kept me going was that I thought of those kids in India who don't have anything, and when there was a rough time trying to publish the book, I just thought about that and how much struggles they've gone through. And I thought of those people who don't have self-confidence.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And sometimes that's all you need. You need to have that one thought in your head that just keeps you through, the times that are difficult, right? And that's what you did, which is awesome. Let me ask you another question. I want to know, because I'm really curious from your perspective, why do you feel that people bully?
Well, this may not always be the case, but I think it's a really popular reason. The bullies may not have self-confidence too, and some challenges may go on at home that are really sad sometimes. So then they bully other people to make themselves feel good.
Right, absolutely. My gosh, the fact that you're able to kind of hone in on knowing that generally bullies themselves have issues that they're dealing with, which they then project out externally to other people to try and take the pressure off of the anxiety and the stress that they're dealing with. It's awesome that you understand that and that you're sharing that message. What does it mean to you? I'm so curious, to being South Asian. What does it mean to you to be South Asian?
Well, I really like being South Asian. I feel like it's really special. I like how there's lots of holidays. And
Yes.
my family we're really close, and I really like that. But I think every culture has something special about it.
Absolutely, you're so right. And it's interesting because a lot of what's being talked about right now by people from our culture on social media talks mostly about all the challenges that people have with the culture. Not that many people are really talking about all the amazing, fabulous things that are out there being South Asian. So you've just brought that to light, and I'm so happy that you did, because now you've got my mind thinking about all of the wonderful things that I grew up with that I never ever would have had if I wasn't a part of the South Asian community. So you're absolutely right. Being South Asian rocks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So talk to me also about being a girl. How do you feel about what that means to you?
Well, I really like being a girl, and I feel really strong and confident. Really, really confident, I should say. Really strong, powerful, confident.
And do you feel that there's people out there in the world, whether it be in your family or whether it be people that you've seen on TV or maybe you've read about, that inspire you? Like, and if so, like, can you maybe mention a couple of them? I'd love to know who you admire.
Well, I really admire my grandfather because, he started the charity, and I think that's really special.
Absolutely. So are you planning on following in his footsteps, Shreya?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for you to start on that journey, which of course you already have with this book, which is wonderful. Folks, if you're just joining us, I am in conversation with the fabulous Toronto-based Shreya Gupta. She's a 10-year-old author. She's the author of Flamingo Feet, which is available in Amazon across North America, also in Barnes & Noble. So please log online, tell everybody you know to go grab this book. It's an important book. It's written by someone from our community, and it's about a very, very important topic that everybody suffers from or has suffered from or is going through right now, and that is bullying. So make sure that you do that, folks. I want to carry on having my conversation with Shreya because I am just getting so many fabulous insights from you, sweetheart. I want to ask you, because now we're really going deep, what do you think are the differences between you and boys, and maybe our culture and other cultures? Anything at all that comes to your mind?
Hmm. Well, I don't think that my culture is better than anyone else's or that anybody's culture is better than mine. And, same with our personalities and us. I don't think I'm better than anyone. I don't think anybody's better than me. I think we're all equal. We're definitely not all the same, as we're all special and unique in our own ways. But it doesn't make anybody better than anyone or less better than anyone.
Absolutely, because different is cool. It's cool
Exactly.
to be different, because if everybody was the same, we'd have nothing to talk about, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely. So for those boys and girls out there who are being bullied for being different, what would you say to them?
Well, I would tell them that it doesn't matter what those bullies are saying to you. Keep staying confident, keep chasing your dreams. It's okay to like things in your own way. It doesn't matter what people say about it. The bullies may call you weird, but technically everybody's weird. There's no normal. So I would tell them that, and that just chase your dreams, stay confident.
Hey, I absolutely agree with you. And honestly, from one weirdo, that's me, to another weirdo, that's you, I think we're pretty cool, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
So what about the bullies, Shreya? Do you have a message for people who bully?
Well, if I saw a bully, I would just tell them that if you don't have anything nice to say, you really shouldn't say it. And if somebody said something like that to you, would you like it? But, I would not try and bully back, of course. I'm not trying to get angry back if they were bullying me. I would actually try and talk to them, see maybe why they're bullying and try and help them and make them better people.
Amen to that, sweetheart. Thank you so much for your insightful conversation. I've learned a thing or two. And again, I said this earlier on, I'm going to say it again. I want to be like you when I grow up. Thank you so much for being a part of this show. And, just having this great, important conversation, which really is important. Folks, Flamingo Feet, brand new book out there on Amazon. Go pick it up. Go give it to everyone that you know out there. And if you're South Asian, you got to support this book, okay? This is a book that's by a South Asian 10-year-old young lady who had this idea that she did not want to see injustice happen out there, and she wanted to do her part to make a difference in this world. She totally is my superhero. And on that note, Shreya, who's your superhero?
Well, I think my parents will always be superheroes to me, but I think my real favorite superhero is my grandfather, because he started a charity, he's giving back. He may not have superpowers like you see in those movies or comics, but I think what he's doing is even more special than having superpowers, because he's giving back, he started the charity, and I think that's really special.
Absolutely. And I think that is the biggest superpower of them all, right, sweetheart? Is to give back to people because you can, right? Thank you so much for being on, sweetheart. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it was such a pleasure. Trust me on that. Folks, again, go online. You've already heard me say it, Amazon, wherever you are in the world, go pick up Flamingo Feet, written by Shreya Gupta, a very, very brave, courageous, phenomenal young lady. And, that's our first live. What an interesting, fabulous conversation that I just had. I felt like I was talking to someone that was a grown-up. That's the absolute truth, sweetheart. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope that we can have you on again to talk about something else that's important to you. Would you come back?
Of course.
Okay, awesome. I'm so happy. Thank you so much for being on, sweetheart.
Thank you for having me, Raj. Bye.
Oh, you're welcome, sweetie. You really are. All right, guys, so that's a wrap. Wasn't she just awesome? Oh my gosh, I'm reveling in the conversation. Thank you so much to Hina for coming on, for setting the stage for the conversation about bullying, and for Shreya for showing how it's done, how you can actually make a difference in this world. If there's any topic that you feel that you'd like us to cover, please DM us or send us an email to ANOKHI UNCENSORED at anokhilife.com. Again, that's ANOKHI UNCENSORED at anokhilife.com. I was your host, blessed and humbled to be coming to you today with the inaugural live session of ANOKHI Uncensored. Thank you so, so much, folks. This is me, over and out. Mwah. Have a great day, morning, night, wherever you are. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.